Hey guys, welcome to another Texas Bolt Action Battle Report. It's first game of 2019 on a brand new table. Sorry that I haven't posted any videos there at the end of the year. It was getting pretty busy, but my goal is that in 2019 I'm going to play more games and post more videos. So today I'm here with Luther, and we're going to be playing an inaugural battle on my new North African table. It can be used for Tunisia, which is what we're going to be doing today. But I've also got some desert rats in the works, and we're hoping to get some Northern Africa or like Tobruk style battles going. But anyway, today we're going to be doing a simple 750 point game, Germans versus Americans, and it's going to be a patrol scenario. Both teams are going to be just kind of looking for, trying to scout out where the enemy is and make contact with them, and try to preserve their own troops in the process. So I'm going to start today with my new DAC army, and man, it's been a little while since I made one of these videos, so I'm a little bit rusty on the talking. So bear with me. But anyway, here is a first or second lieutenant regular. He's got 3 veteran squads. All of them have light machine guns. There is also a light machine gun squad from the new Western Desert book, a 3-man squad with an LMG. There is a tripod-mounted MMG over here as well for support. And the Germans are also going to be bringing on with this Opel Blitz a PaK-37 light anti-tank gun. And then we also have a half-track for some of the men. So this is kind of a recon mission, kind of a reconnaissance comp group, and they brought this AT gun along in case they run into any American armor. All right, so I'm going to come around here and let Luther tell you what he brought today, his newly painted American Army, which looks stunning. So what do you got, Luther?
All right, so we've got a two-man medic team, 2-man bazooka team, both regular. Everything in this army is regular. 3-man team with the second lieutenant, regular half-track, a regular medium machine gun team, a regular Jeep with a medium machine gun mounted on it, no transport on that, a regular medium mortar with spotter, and then 4 6-man regular squads with NCOs with SMGs and a BAR in each squad.
Cool. So I just realized that with this new lav mic that I got, they may not have heard you, but anyway, basically it's mostly a regular force, and we've got these 4 regular squads that make up the backbone of it, Jeep, half-track. So the Americans are coming on themselves with a pretty nice squad of reconnaissance troops, and the mission today is going to be to make contact with the enemy, but preserve your own troops. So both sides are going to get 2 points for every unit of the enemy they destroy, but they're going to get 1 point for every unit of theirs that safely makes it back off of their table edge. And so they're just trying to make contact with the enemy and then assess their strength. They're not trying to take any ground today. They're just trying to find out where the enemy is, and they're basically just doing like a patrol and trying to make contact and then get back home safely. So we're going to go ahead and play turn 1, and we will let you know how it goes. So stay tuned. All right, so welcome back. We just finished turn one. So we said units had to roll to come on in reserve, like the same way they do for top secret. We've got a German squad here that has kind of anchored the center. They came up and got behind these rocks in the middle of the table. They did that because they saw a lot of movement over here in this orchard or this olive grove near this shed. Luther brought a half track up, parked it back here, and he emptied out his. There was one squad that was in the half track, and then they were joined by a couple of medics as well as the mortar's observer. So they're just kind of keeping an eye on the field out here and seeing what they see. They also have a second squad that is advancing into the orchard over here very carefully with their officer team. So that is pretty much Luther's right flank. There is a jeep with a bazooka that have come up to the center, as well as a machine gun that shortly after coming onto the field took some fire, lost a man. They took fire from a half track over here, emptied out a squad of DAC into these trenches. And there's also a light machine gun team that's moving around the side of that emplacement that must have already been there. And then the mortar team deployed up here. So the mortar team has just about a near perfect view of the field. There's really almost no need for the spotter, but the spotter can pick out what the mortar can't see over here behind this little farm bombed out building area. We've got another squad that came up and tried to take shots at the Germans they saw over here in the foxholes, but they found out they were too far away to cause any damage, so that did not materialize. Meanwhile, over here, the Opel Blitz and the light AT gun have showed up in the tree line, and so has the German officer. Now, the Germans were expecting another squad and a medium machine gun team to be here by now, but for whatever reason, they have not shown up. And the Americans are expecting one other squad of regulars to be here. So right now, both teams have another couple of units that are not on the table yet. So we're going to go ahead and play turn two, and we will let you know what happens. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so welcome back after turn two. As you can see, the Germans here have captured these abandoned positions, and they've set up pretty nicely. They've kind of caught the Americans out in the open. They were out of range this turn to really do too much damage. They were only able to shoot at them with the LMGs, and since most of them had to advance, they just weren't able to get effective shots on the Americans. The Americans did move up and fire at this LMG team and did put a pin on them, but didn't manage to kill anyone. This LMG team actually tried to shoot at this mortar, but didn't hit anybody there. First turn of the game, the mortar launched a shot down range at the gun here, but they missed. Explosion hit a little bit too long, and that gun ended up taking some fire from this half track that moved up, as well as this squad behind this really strong position over here. However, they only took one casualty, and the officer was able to rally one of the pins off of them, and they were able to get a shot onto this half track, but they only stunned the crew. However, that half track's officer has moved up here to try and help rally it on the next turn, try to get it into action. They're really kind of using that 50 cal on the half track as kind of like a really strong support weapon, and the medics are following closely behind. Meanwhile, the squad in the orchard saw movement over here, this DAC moving through this little alley here. They took shots at them, managed to get a pin, but didn't manage to kill anyone. And this Jeep is getting really brave and starting to ease up around the side of this farm with its 30 cal. So we got a little bit of an interesting situation over here. I don't know if the men on the ground know that each unit is there, but these men were focused on firing at this bazooka team. They missed. However, this half-track knows that the bazooka team is probably coming for it, so it fired with its very powerful MG-34 down the field and killed one of the men. But they passed their orders test, so they're sticking around. Meanwhile, over here, new squad coming on the table. MMG team not really hitting anybody. They fired at the men who took these positions but didn't really hit. So that's kind of what's going on. Still one German squad that has not made it onto the table yet. So we're still hearing hide nor hair of them. And it's looking pretty rough for the Germans on this side, especially at the moment. So we are going to play turn 3, and we will let you know how it goes, so stay tuned. All right, guys, we are back after turn 3, and as you can see, the squad has finally made it on the table. I don't know what delayed them, but they finally made it up here, and they're moving up to these emplacements here to kind of help secure the farm. They're going to kind of come up alongside this squad that has also moved into this stronghold, and took shots at this squad, managed to get a kill and another couple of pins. Bazooka tried to shed its pins, get it together to go kill the half-track, but it didn't pass its orders test, so it just went down. So he is still down there with his fallen squad mate. The half-track has pivoted and is moving over to support this side of the battle, because there is no longer any German AT here. German AT took a direct hit from the mortar, took out everyone involved, so there's no more heavy weapons for the Germans over here. However, this medium machine gun that had positioned itself last turn emptied out an entire magazine or entire belt on the American Jeep, killing the entire crew and knocking out that Jeep. So that was devastating for the Americans. Meanwhile, over here, this squad had tried to fire at the squad over here in the buildings. Didn't manage to get anybody, but did manage to get a pin. This squad also did the same thing, and they killed a man. The half-track took another hit from the AT gun before the AT gun went down, and it now has 4 pins. It stunned the crew again. So the AT gun was kind of a squirrel gun for the Germans anyway. Was having a lot of trouble taking out this half-track, and the officer team has moved up behind it to try and get it into gear and get it in order. So that's what's going on there. This squad over here for the Americans on the left flank has really had a tough go of it. They've advanced and tried to fire at these units down here, both like a couple of times, but they keep on taking fire. They're out in the open. They're losing men. And they're just trying to attack that trench line head on, and they're taking fire from the squad as well as the MG. And that's pretty much the lay of things right now. The German truck is still moved back, just kind of waiting in case it needs to get off the table for the points. And the German officer has started moving over here to kind of support this squad. So that's also happening. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and play turn 4. And we will let you know how it goes. This little platoon-sized reconnaissance mission is turning into a full-fledged battle. So far, the Germans have removed 1 dice from the field, and the Germans have removed 1, and the Americans have removed 1. So it's tied there, and we'll have to see if the Germans can get any more points in the coming turn. Okay, so stay tuned, and we'll let you know what happens. All right, folks, so we're coming into turn 4 here, and as you can see, there's been some carnage at the farm, but the fight is really starting to kind of take shape around this structure here. The Germans have kind of seized it and turned it into a stronghold. They've taken some casualties. They've definitely paid for it, but this squad is firmly in position here and has been getting shots downrange onto these men here. This squad was pinned, but they shed one of their pins and managed to get some shots onto these guys and took out one. This squad has finally moved up. First person they saw was the bazooka team. The bazooka had moved up here to try and take a shot at the half track, which was directly behind this team, but he missed, and he must not have seen these guys laying low behind the sandbags because they immediately jumped up and gunned him down. So he is now dead along with his squad mate. Meanwhile, over here on this flank on the German right, the light machine gun team started to climb the hill and is starting to move up towards the mortar team, who was ranging in on them. So that must have tipped them off that there was some artillery up on the hill, and they've started to make a move. But they weren't able to fire at him this turn, but they were able to fire down into the valley on that poor, unfortunate American squad that now is looking really low on men. The NCO is the only one left, and he passed his orders test, so he has all of his pins there, but he will probably be fleeing the field shortly, which would be good for Luther. Remember, he gets a point for every man that he can get back off of his table, every unit that survives the game off the table edge. But he will lose that dice if that happens. So this is just kind of a made-up scenario, but it's working out pretty cool. Meanwhile, we have a half-track here that's starting to get into the battle, putting rounds down on the men in the orchard, getting no hits for the time being, but is now in position. Medium machine gun team also focusing fire on the men in the orchard, helping to get them pinned. No kills being put on that squad yet. This squad's still in relatively good shape, and they've been putting fire on the squads in the buildings here. They've got a really good position back here behind this rock where they can kind of get a good view on the farm and kind of have like a flanking view, although the German lines have kind of turned to kind of meet them now with the machine gun in the woods and the half-track starting to kind of roll up this way. So they've kind of helped negate the advantage of that position, but they still have to face it head on. It's still hard cover, so it's still a really hard position to root them out of. Meanwhile, the half-track tried to activate with its officer, who has now moved up here in front very bravely to kind of lead the men on. But the half-track was not able to get its act together this time either. There must be some kind of miscommunication going on with the officer and the driver. 50's not manned, so they're probably having some trouble getting that to happen. And the half-track is still pinned. So medics are still standing by. Haven't had to really address any casualties on this side of the field. So still have a pretty strong point for the Americans over here. In the center, the Americans are also holding, but not really managing to move to activate. This squad failed orders test, went down. The machine gun did fire across at the men who were in these emplacements, but didn't hit anybody. It was after that the squad jumped out and also put shots onto this squad, helping to get them down to the one man. So it's looking pretty rough for the Americans on this side, but the Germans have a pretty good little struggle ahead of them over here on the side of the farm. So, yep, we're going to go ahead and play turn 5, and we're going to let you know what happens. I imagine some people are going to start trying to retire from the field this turn, maybe to try and get that extra point. They only have the one turn to do it, so it will be interesting to see what transpires. So stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back after turn 5. As you can see, this German squad is near the edge of the table. Are they running? Did they foobar? No, they're pulling back. They've definitely assessed the enemy's strength. Remember, I get a point for every unit I get off the table, so they were not really in a position to lay any serious hurt on any units this late in the game, so they are pulling back, and hopefully I'm going to get them off the table edge on this next turn and get a point. So that's good there. These guys, though, on the other hand, are still moving up and still putting down pressure on the squad. However, the single NCO here in Luther's squad, with all of his men dead around him, managed to rally his shock off. He has nerves of steel, and he is going to be trying to get off the table on the next turn. Machine gun team did crest the hill and fired at the mortar team here in the scrub, but didn't get a single hit. So that is definitely some comeuppance for some 6s that I rolled over here on this side of the table, because as you can see, that officer team is completely wiped out. First turn of the game, medium machine gun fired, got four hits and 4 deaths, and that was enough to wipe the entire 3-man squad out. One of them must have fled the field. His corpse isn't there, but it was a pretty rough go for the officer. Didn't stop the half-track from rallying, though, so the half-track's going to be looking to get off the field probably on this next turn. This squad tried to return fire on the MMG, managed to get a pin on them, but no kills. The officer has repositioned himself. The German officer has run from the farm over here to try and help them out and keep them from suffering from that pin when they also try to make their exit. German half-track has moved up here, put shots on the men in the orchard, as well as this squad. Really tried to get that orchard squad pinned, but they managed to advance out this turn. They needed to. It was crucial that they advance out, because since they can only advance into and out of woods, they would not have made it all in turn 6. So that's why they didn't rally. That's why they did pass an unlikely orders test, and they did move back. American medics are also getting out of Dodge. They said, "You're on your own, boys." They've definitely pulled back. Center line holding, still quite a ways from still kind of a good distance from the table edge to get off this turn if they had to. So they're hanging out. MG team with their 1 dead. Pretty costly patrol for the U.S. forces. I think they definitely found the Germans. Mortar team tried to take out the MG team. Didn't get it done. They're going to need a 5 on the next turn. So they could take that MG team out and prevent them from pulling back this next and final turn. So we're going to go ahead and play turn 6, and we will let you know how it goes. This is going to be the final turn of the game. So thanks for watching, and we'll let you know how turn 6 goes after this. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back after the final turn, turn 6, and as I predicted, a lot of units are kind of leaving the table. This squad is technically already gone, so that's a point for me there. Officer, machine gun, fled the field, made it off safely, made it back. These two squads, this squad here and this squad here, bravely running screen. This squad knocked out a machine gun team over there, the medium machine guns, so it's now... That ended up being a couple points for the Germans. This squad over here tried their best to knock out this final squad. Didn't get it done, but got them down to enough pins that they failed their orders test to get off the table. So machine gun from the half track, just mowing down people over here, just trying to pin people, didn't really get it done. This squad very bravely is running a screen for the retreating forces. Got out here and tried to get a few kills on the veteran squad and did kill one man who's right there. Heartbreakingly, the half track could not make it in time. They must have broken down or something, but really the range was not there for them to get off the table this turn, so probably consider them captured. They pivoted and they were just 1 inch short of the table from getting all the way off. The squad in the orchard did make it out despite being pinned twice, so lucky for them. Mortar team took a casualty, but also managed to make it off. They took a casualty from the machine gun on the ridge. So both armies now will have to retreat back to their camps, tell their commanders of the enemy's strength, and that will help in the efforts of both sides in the greater theater that is Tunisia. I'm going to be doing a lot of Tunisian battles in the coming months, or just kind of in the coming next several reports. I'm considering doing a campaign. I'm starting to get into Chain of Command by Two Fat Lardies, and I'm starting to get kind of interested in showing you guys some of those battle reports. I'm thinking that I still want to play bolt action, so I think what I'll do is if I do any kind of campaign, I'll kind of mix it up. I might do like a at the sharp end campaign for Tunisia, but then what I might do is like kind of pepper it with some tank war for bolt action. Tunisia is perfect for tank war. And we're probably going to see the British at some point. The Germans are the only Axis force that I have painted, but I know there's some Italian players in the community that I could probably coax to come over here. And I think there's even some French Foreign Legion players that I could probably snag, so we could get some really interesting battles in the desert. But this was a good first game for that effort, a good patrol, kind of a low-key 750-point battle. Hopefully we'll get some more kind of rip-roaring battles after that. And I definitely want to, especially if I get Chain of Command in there, I want to start kind of focusing them in on some historical events, because there's a lot of events that happen in Tunisia that I really enjoy reading about and that I want to see recreated on the tabletop. So anyway, hope you enjoyed watching this game. Be sure and check out the Texas Bolt Action Facebook group. And I also want to say check out Paint All the Minis, because I'm going to be doing some stuff with them pretty soon, some content. And some of these videos may end up over there on their channel. And it may be the kind of thing where if you want to see a complete campaign, you're going to have to go to their channel to watch it. So I'll do all the videos, but I'll post like 4 on my channel and then 1 on Paint All the Minis. And you should also just check it out anyway if you like to paint or you like to game. It's just a great tabletop podcast. I really enjoy listening to Dan's stuff, and I know I listen to it a lot when I paint. So something that you might want to check out. Okay, so thanks for watching again, guys, and hopefully my New Year's resolution holds true and I get more videos out in 2019. So stay tuned.